secretly, Grand Funk Railroad is the all-original, all-American rock and roll band that we all love. The wild, shirtless antics of Mark Farner, the bong-rattling bass of Mr. Mel Schacher, and the competent drumwork of Don Brewer is all you need to make one of the most hard-rocking rock and roll bands of all time. They were able to outsell the Beatles in concert tickets. They were able to make Led Zeppelin uneasy on stage. They're Grand Funk. Yeah, the critics may have hated them, and they're not even in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet, but who gives a damn? The peoples, we loves us some Grand Funk. They're a hard-working, working-class band that makes hard-rocking, working-class music, and we love it. This is a list of the top 11 best songs by Grand Funk Railroad. Okay, so before all you fellow classic Grand Funk fans start jumping on me and beating me up and the like about, oh yeah, this one's so poppy and all this stuff, why do you put it here? Just hear me out first. So, Some Kind of Wonderful is the only track on here that was made after 1973's We're an American Band. So that means none of that, like, cheesier, lamer, poppier sellout crap like The Locomotion and the like, you know what I'm talking about. Not even the honorable mention, so this is it. Also, it may be cheesy, but I've always had a soft spot for it. Yeah, there's no guitar at all, but that bass makes up for it, definitely. It's a cool, fun, catchy little song, and it may not sound a lot like a lot of the other songs on this list, but it's still a great song that definitely deserves to be on this list. Also was my introduction to Grand Funk, being the first song I ever heard by him. To me, no other song really encapsulates early Grand Funk like Got This Thing on the Move. It's loud, heavy, explosive, and in your face. It's songs like these that are the reason why Grand Funk was able to sell out Shea Stadium in just 3 days. It's songs like these that are the reason why Led Zeppelin was afraid to follow them up in concert. Got This Thing on the Move is just an awesome song, and maybe Grand Funk has written more eloquent songs, but this one just rocks. It's one thing to cover the Rolling Stones. I mean, they're one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, so obviously people are going to want to play their music. But it's quite another thing to attempt to cover their magnum opus. So I gotta say, Grand Funk has some serious balls to attempt to cover the Rolling Stones' Gimme Shelter, which is probably one of the greatest songs of all time. And I'm not going to say their cover quite tops the original, but damn, it's close. And what it lacks in the original's mystery and menace, it makes up for with just pure, heavy intensity. And that bass, dang, I mean, just Mel Schacher has to be one of the greatest bassists of all time. Any bass players out there, listen to Grand Funk. Just Mel is cranking on this one. This is just a stellar cover of a classic tune, and I think it's one of Grand Funk's very best. Grand Funk Railroad was pretty much one of the heaviest bands of the early 70s, right up there with Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, MC5, Mountain, Cactus, Blue Cheer, all those guys. And Sin's a Good Man's Brother just might be their heaviest track. It starts off sounding like a simple acoustic ditty, but then this monstrous riff just plows straight through the song like a Godzilla marching through downtown Tokyo. It's just awesome. That riff is magnificent. Mark Farner just howling on the vocals. This song has to be very high in all Grand Funk fans' lists. And at a sharp contrast to the last track, I Can Feel 'Em in the Morning is probably Grand Funk's softest track. It's not about drugs, not about sex. It's about something very unique to sing about in the rock world. God. And it's very, very rare to find a good rock song about God. And yeah, this is more like an acoustic, gospel-y track. Still a wonderful song. But still, it's sung by a bunch of rock and rollers in their prime. I mean, how often does that happen? I just think that's really neat. The song is just so serene, so beautiful, almost transcendent. And there's this part at the beginning that just gives me chills with this, like a bunch of little children all talking about God and Jesus. And it's just wonderful. Even if you're not religious, you have to respect how just beautiful this song is. It may not be their heaviest, but it's definitely one of their best. Even though Some Kind of Wonderful was the first Grand Funk song I ever heard, my real introduction to the band was with the Red Album's Paranoid. Even though it has a really, really, really long intro, it still hooked me in immediately. The squalling nuclear sirens, just damn heavy bass, the screeching guitar noises. It was just so cool first hearing, and it's still cool now. And then it all calms down, and then Mel Schacher probably delivers his greatest bass line ever. The whole song is just pure heaviness. And this is 1969. This is like before Black Sabbath. I would totally consider this proto-metal, or maybe even metal. It's so heavy. It's just such a cool song. And I've always loved it, and it's became probably my favorite Grand Funk song. Since 1971, Grand Funk has opened up all their concerts with one song, Footstompin' music. With its steady, galloping rhythm, excellent organ work from Mark Farner, and its happy-go-lucky, good-time lyrics, this song is a blast to listen to, especially live. I love how well Mark, Don, and Mel are able to play with each other so well on this track, and the way Mark just so seamlessly transitions from organ to guitar, even live, is just incredible. Yeah, Footstomping music may not be the most complex thing they've ever made, but I'll be damned if it isn't the most fun song they've ever made. This song is just a blast to listen to. It's a great track, and I think it is a highlight of their career. At 6 minutes and 30 seconds, Into the Sun managed to change rhythm, tempo, and mood multiple times throughout its running time. From its melodic, tranquil intro to jagged, grooving verse, this one is a scorching epic the whole way through. One of Grand Funk's most progressive moments, I've always really liked all the atmosphere and tone this song had to offer. I also think it's one of Mark's first really great songs he would write, and really foreshadows a lot of other excellent classics he would write in the future. This song shows Mark, Don, and Mel at their absolute peak as musicians. Yeah, Into the Sun is a great song, but I'm going to take back what I said about it and say that Inside Looking Out shows them at their musical peak. My gosh, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looks like when three incredibly talented young men decide to make one hell of a rockin' jam session. Yeah, Inside Looking Out was originally by the Animals, but Grand Funk just took it, pumped it straight full of steroids, and turned it into a monster, almost 10-minute long epic that showcased all three of their abilities. Perfect. Drumming by Don Brewer, perfect. Bass by Mel Schacher, perfect. Guitar and vocals by Mark Farner, stunning. This is an awesome song. Probably one of the greatest covers of all time. And I was considering maybe putting it at number 2, and it is an awesome song, but I think there's 2 songs that may be better, but still, the very fact that this song is only at number 3 just shows you how awesome Grand Funk really is. Some hardcore old school Grand Funk fans from the late 60s will try telling you that this is the funk selling out. But if you ask me, We're an American Band is a timeless classic that never seems to get old. It's 100% all-American rock and roll music just the way I likes it. It's 24-karat funk at its absolute finest. With its timeless opening lyrics and cowbell-laden drum beat, right off the bat, you know this one was gonna rock. Don Brewer is just killing it on the vocals. A travelogue of Grand Funk's daring exploits on the road as a rock and roll band. This one is just a damn good time from start to finish. Any other band would probably have this one as their number 1. But Grand Funk, they're just so good, they have one that tops it. Bohemian Rhapsody, Stairway to Heaven, Freebird, Green Grass and High Tides, Jungle Land. These are songs that are considered masterpieces. Masterpieces by the respective artists. Masterpieces of the 20th century. These are songs that are monumental landmarks in the history of music. And I do believe that I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home, definitely ranks amongst them as being one of the greatest songs ever written. I feel like I don't even need to explain why this song is number one. Because if you've ever listened to it, even just once, you already know why. Because it's just an epic, a beautiful, gorgeous ballad that seems to last forever, yet never gets old. It's one of those songs that is just legendary. One of those songs that was considered an epic at the time is still revered today and will be seen as a masterpiece 30 years into the future. It's one of those songs that people will always respect, always admire, always see as a work of art. I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home is by a landslide the best Grand Funk Railroad song. So guys, that was my list for the top 11 best songs by Grand Funk Railroad. And if you like my list, then make sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And if you didn't really agree with my list, then you can just put a list of your own down in the comments below, and I'll just check it out and tell you what I think. And if you're fairly new to Grand Funk Railroad, which I know a lot of kids my age are, since it's a fairly unknown band to most millennials, then I highly suggest getting the Red Album, E Pluribus Funk, or Closer to Home. All three are killer rock and roll records I think every kid should listen to. Well guys, that's all for now, and so until next time, bye!